Ganatamarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gitamayam Dadati Swavadante Kam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavams Cha Shri Rupam Sahajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Zavadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Chakalpa Triyobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhimcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna Anda Shri Gadadha Shivasati Go Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Bhagavan Shri Krishna Ki Jai Nityananda Ram Ki Jai. So even though Trayodasi Titi was on Thursday, this year there was a little mix-up, well not mix-up, but a difference in the TTs and the festivals and everything. LA was, Ekadasi, Dwadasi, Trayodasi, and then for Sacramento and Berkeley and San Francisco, we had it where it was Trayodasi. Well, it was first Ekadasi, of course, and then Trayodasi and Dwadasi and Trayodasi were mixed together. So the fasting was getting mixed up and everything. But anyway, we all got through it. Vrajas, of course, the Dwadasi. And then you also had Nityananda Trayodasi. And also, an auspicious thing, auspicious but always not nice to hear, is that we had one of my godbrothers in LA. There was a fire at 2 a.m. It was still Trayodasi, so still Nityananda's appearance. And the one devotee, he ended up passing away in fire. They had a fire in LA. And there was a Mataji. I forget her name. There was a Mataji, and then there was the son, and they jumped out the second story window. The fire went up real quick, and then also the other devotee didn't get out, and so it was very sad. So, but anyway, he died in an auspicious time. It was Nityananda's Trayodasi, so that's very auspicious. Waxing moon, Sukla Paksh, so it's very auspicious in that way. But we'll miss him. So, Hare Krishna. And so I will be reading a lot of Nityananda Nectar, even though the TT was on Thursday. Nityananda, this is Shabdahari, it's eternal sound. So the glorification of Nityananda is always appreciated and always well liked by the devotees who are pure in heart. Vajananandana se, Sachisutta Hoila se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. So Balaram is Nitai. And that's what our understanding has always been. And there's many wonderful pastimes connected with this. First, I'll state some of the philosophy from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then we'll read pastimes, and then we'll hear some more, and then if devotees came late, I can repeat some of the, because you have to have shastric backup for anything that we do, supposed to. And in that way, the flavor increases, because we have some backing to what we're doing. It isn't just speculation, it isn't just, whimsical. So, this is Nityananda Tattva. Of course, this is from the Gaudiya Kantahara, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nityananda and Advaita, the two main branches of the Chaitanya tree. Advaita Acharya Nityananda Duyanga, Duyajana Lana Prabhur Yatta Kichuranga. Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya are the two expansions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who assist his transcendental pastimes. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 5:146. So, just to kind of get a picture in your mind, you have all the material universes in the Mahatattva. You have Mahavishnu who's expanding all these universes out of him. and then you have the Sadashiva Loka, and then you have Durga Loka. You have all the different, as they go up, and then the Vaikuntha Lokas, and then you have Ayodhya, Dham of Ramachandra, and then you have Goloka, the whole area of Goloka, and then there's areas that are all divided up. There's many different compartments within the whole Goloka, which is the largest spiritual planet. And within there you have the Swakiya, and then you have the Parakiya, the married and the unmarried pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and then you also have the whole section, like a whole half section you could say, there's no halves and whole, everything's perfect there. But you have one whole section of Chaitanya Leela, you see, one section of Chaitanya Leela, a whole other section which is Madhurya Leela. So you have Odarya Dham, which is Lord Chaitanya, Svedadvip, which is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime with Nityananda, Panchatattva, and all the different devotees. And then also you have some of those devotees coming into Krishna Leela when he appears on the earth here in Gokul. So in that way, of course, you have it where the Lord comes, just like you have the original Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, comes once in a day of Brahma, and that was just approximately, not exactly, approximately 5,000 years ago or further. And then you also have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared approximately 500 years ago with all the other different devotees who had also appeared in Krishna Leela. So in that way, is that the understanding is that, the Lord comes down and he blesses all the living entities once in the day of Brahma, which actually is quite a long time. I mean, you're talking, 4,320,000,000 years. It's like, it's like forever. But anyway, he comes, and for his time, it's different. For him, it's just a day in the Brahma, like you have a day. Do you have a day? Yeah, you have a day. You have a day? You have a day. I have a day. So, like, we have a day each day. So that's how it is for Lord Krishna. 4,320,000,000 years is one day. So that's a little hard for us. That's almost like eternity. But that's for the Lord, it's one day. So we'll go on here. May Sri Nityananda Prabhu be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, as well as Seish, are the expansions and the expansions of his expansions. That same Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram. Who's Balaram? Who did he come as? Yeah, Nityananda, Haribol. Yeah, he is. He's Krishna's brother, Chaitanya's brother. I surrender into the lotus feet of Nityananda Ram, who is known as Sankarshan, in the midst of the Chatravyuha. Chatravyuha is the four. So you have Pradumna, Aniruddha, Vasudev, Sankarshan. He has full opulence and resides in Vaikuntha Loka far beyond the material creation. And that's CC Adi 1, verse 8. I offer my respectful obeisances at the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram. Who? Nityananda Ram. You got to get into the mood. Nityananda Ram. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. When we would do Kirtan, we used to really get into Nityananda's name, because he's most merciful. He's Petit Pavan. And we'd really get into it, Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. So then we have the next one. I offer my obeisances into the feet of Nityananda Ram, whose partial representation called Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy and the shelter of the universes. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi, chapter 1, verse 9. Now, as that also right now, this is the fourth verse of an actual prayer section. It says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu sprouts the lotus stem that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. CC Adi, chapter 1, verse 10. So all these four verses here have the repetition of Tam Sri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. So repeat after me. Tam Sri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. Tam Sri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. Tam Sri Nityananda Ramam Babadye. Jai Nityananda Rama Ki Jai. Baladev is the original Shankarshan. And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi, verse 5, 8, and 9. Lord Balaram is the original Shankarshan. He assumes 5 other forms to serve Lord Krishna. He helps in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he does the work of creation in 4 other forms. So Balaram is non-different as who? He's the same as who? Who is he? Yeah. Balaram, Shankarshan, you know. So you remember that. That's why he's light-colored like that, just like Balaram is. For 2 purposes, to spread the cult of bhakti and to defeat and subdue the atheist, Lord Nityananda, the most dedicated devotee of the Lord, moved throughout the country. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 3, verse 149. The glories of Nityananda Ram. All glories to Nityananda Prabhu, maddened by ecstatic love of Godhead. He overwhelmed the universe with ecstasy. He slapped his hands together like a warrior who is about to attack. And upon seeing this, the wicked Kali fled in terror, fearing for his life. All souls were drowned in happiness because of the dancing of Sri Gauranga and Nityananda. Seeing such dancing or even hearing of it melts the heart even of the greatest atheist. That's from Gitavali by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Nagar Kirtan 8. And then we also have from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 200-204, all glory to Nityananda Balaram, by whose mercy I have attained shelter in the transcendental abode of Vrindavan. All glory to the merciful Lord Nityananda, by whose mercy I have attained shelter of Sri Rupa and Sanatan. By his mercy I have attained the shelter of the great Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. And by his mercy I have found the refuge of Sri Sarup Damodar. By the mercy of Sanatan Goswami I have learned the final conclusions of devotional service. And by the grace of Sri Rupa Goswami I have learned have tasted the highest nectar of devotional service. All glory to the lotus feet of Nityananda, by whose mercy I have attained Radha Govinda. I am more sinful than Jagai and Madai, and even lower than the worms and stool. Anyone who hears my name loses the results of his pious activities. Whoever utters my name becomes sinful. Who in this world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable person as me? Because he is intoxicated by ecstatic love and is an incarnation of mercy, he does not distinguish between the good and the bad. He delivers all those who fall down before him. Therefore he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 205, 209. Then also from Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, verse 77, one who would cross over the ocean of material existence and swim in the Bhakti ocean should worship the lotus feet of Nityananda. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Leela, chapter 9, verse 217 and 218. Lord Chaitanya's first and foremost devotee is Nityananda Rai. The glories of Lord Nityananda are always in his tongue. Day and night Lord Nityananda speaks only of Lord Chaitanya. Whoever worships him is a real devotee of Chaitanya. And this verse is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 6, verse 48. Nityananda, the wandering mendicant, is the foremost of all the servants of Lord Chaitanya. He is like the gateway through which all service to Lord Chaitanya must pass. He became mad in the ecstasy of the service to Lord Chaitanya. And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 175 and 176. These 2 brothers, Gaur Nitai, are like the one body. They are identical manifestations. If you do not believe in Lord Nityananda, you will fall down. If you have faith in one, but disrespect the other, your logic is like the logic of accepting half a hen. And this is from the last verse, from Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 177. it would be better to be an atheist by slighting both brothers than a hypocrite by believing in one and slighting the other. Nityananda Ram ki. So the reason why those points are being so stressed is because just like some people only worship Krishna and they ignore Radharani. You know, and then you see this in South India many times, even in North India. You go to some temples I've seen, and just there's only Lord Krishna. And where's Radharani? You know, she is the other half. The better half, should we say? Well, ladies, joy. So she is, because by her, only by her can one achieve devotional service, and by Nityananda Ram's mercy, only then one can actually understand Lord Chaitanya. By understanding those two, Nityananda and Chaitanya, only then can you understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. That's why it's so important. You may understand something about Krishna, but you won't understand Radha Krishna in depth unless you actually are first worshipping Nityananda Ram and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now we're going to hear some pastimes about the one and only Nityananda Ram. And these are notes I took from the Nityananda Charanamrita. Actually, the Nityananda Charanamrita doesn't exist, but some merciful devotees compiled the verses from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And so then they're all capsuled together, and in that way they call it the Chaitanya Bhagavat. But it's a book about this thick, and you can actually purchase it still. And it's a very wonderful book. Ananta Sage came as Nityananda Ram, but in Gaura Leela the two brothers did not have intense pleasure of each other's company until they were young men. Nityananda did not appear in the same home as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see, and compared to where you have it, where they appeared together in Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram. But here you have it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as the son of Jagannath Mishra, and then also as Sachimata. And then you have Nityananda Prabhu, of course he's Balaram. You have Nityananda Prabhu appearing in the home of Hriday Pandit, and then also his wife's name, I'm trying to remember right now. His wife's name was Padmavati. Jai Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you for coming. So the reason why is Lord Chaitanya had his own special pastimes that he wanted to perform by himself in Sachimata's house. Compared to where in the time of 5,000 years ago approximately, that's where Krishna and Balaram together, and so they enacted pastimes together. So this is why the Leelas, they have different flavors. You see, because Prabhupada said that is the quality of Vaishnavas. We like to see variety. You know, we're not interested in Brahman. We want to see variety. And that's why in variety you have one Leela, the pastimes will manifest in one flavor, and then the other Leela, they'll manifest in another way. So it's very nice. You have so many different mellows and Leelas like that. Nitai was pleasing to everyone in Ekra Chakra, Bengal. Who's been to Ekra Chakra? Jai, Jai. Yeah, so 2, maybe 3. So it's now called Virabhadragram, because Virabhadra was the son of Nityananda Prabhu. He also did many wonderful pastimes. And it's very wonderful too, because in Ekra Chakra, it's a small village. When I went there in 2004, they had it where it was Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, thank you for coming. And there was a big sign, you know, Nityananda Dham, you know, big arch that is come put up. That was the beginning. Now we have a temple there. And now also is that all the different holy places that are there, they're being patched up, fixed up very nicely. There's a temple there, which is supposed to be the place where Nityananda Prabhu appeared, and the little lake nearby that he swam right next to. And then when you go in, the priests say, don't take any pictures. You know, here devotees know. Click, click. And the Pujari kept hearing the clicks. No taking of pictures. We go, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, they want you to buy their pictures. So that's what they do. The whole point was they wanted you to buy their pictures and not take your own. The devotees were clicking away anyway, and they got so many pictures. But we also bought the pictures. They had nice big pictures like this of, you know, Nityananda Rai. So it's very nice. And then also there's other pilgrimage places you go to where he performed his pastimes. There's also a house there where the Pandavas had actually stayed. It's a crumbling big brick house that used to be there. Well, it's still there, but you just see crumbling walls. And that's where the Pandavas stayed 5,000 years ago. So they came through there. And there's also a cave nearby where one of the big demons was killed by by Bhima. Yeah, by Bhima. And so there's a lot of wonderful things there. So now it's about like 100 miles away from Mayapur. Nitai would perform many pastimes that Krishna and him would perform 5,000 years earlier in Vrindavan and Mathura. The children of the neighborhood, okay, so then what happened is all the kids in the neighborhood, they loved to be with Nitai. Because Nitai was actually a very funny character. As we talk about his pastimes, you're going to see he was rather funny and eccentric like anything. The devotees, one time they were with Prabhupada and they went to see a play in Calcutta of Panchatattva, and then they did Naga Sankirtan, and they come out and it's like a snake. And they're coming out like this. And then finally Nityananda came out, and Nityananda Prabhu came out in another sequence of the play. And he came out and all his friends were dressed up as coward boys. The devotees were kind of confused. They're going like, oh wait, this is back 5,000 years ago, not 500 years. And they asked Prabhupada, they go, why is Nityananda dressed up like a coward boy? Prabhupada said, oh, Nityananda Prabhu was very controversial. And you'll see as we read on. So the children of the neighborhood, they wanted to, they didn't want to go home. Whenever they had plays, it would be all about Krishna Leela. So all the different pastimes that occurred 5,000 years ago, they were being reenacted at this time in Nityananda's neighborhood. So and Nityananda was funny. He'd make all the boys laugh, and he'd do goofy things. And so the kids were totally entertained. If kids are entertained, they don't want to go home. Mommy, I don't want to go home. So they were like that. They didn't want to go home. So one time one of the matas, she saw how intensely Nityananda was performing his pastimes, saying he's really into it, and he got into it in such emotion, and ecstasy, and falling down and everything. So she asked him, she goes, where did you learn all these pastimes? Not only how to perform them, but to remember all the details. And Nityananda Prabhu said, these are my eternal pastimes, matter of factly. And then everyone just starts laughing, like, oh, he's crazy, So that's part of his humor. And so one mother asked, she wanted to know. Everyone laughed. In Ram Leela, now here's another one, is that when they did the pastime of Ram Leela, at one point, Ravana, he tells his son, Indrajit, he said, you go, and he said, I want you to shoot an arrow at Lakshman, this special arrow. And so this is the pastime now in Nityananda's village. And so now he told the boys, he said, this is how you play this part. And when I get hit by the arrow, I fall down. And then you go, and Hanuman goes and gets the hill and brings the herbs back. And then he gives me the herb, and then I wake up. So then what happens is all of a sudden Nityananda's hit with the arrow. And then, the boys forgot, Did you remember your lines? So then they go, hey, Nityananda, get up. He's not moving, and they start to get worried. He won't get up. Usually you touch somebody, you think, what? And they wake up. Nityananda wasn't waking up. So then they called the parents. The parents come, they go, oh, something's wrong here, very wrong. He's not getting up. We're calling him, pushing him, he's not getting up. What to do? And then an astrologer comes and goes, oh, what play did you play? What? And they say, oh, we were doing Indrajit shooting. Oh, okay. Who was Hanuman? Oh, I was. What was your part? Okay. Go bring the herbs. So he goes and brings the herb and then holds it up. And then all of a sudden Nityananda Ram gets up. That's how intense he was in the pastimes. So he was very intense. So once Nitai is Anantasesh. He came to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a nice picture in there. And it shows baby Chaitanya wrapped around with a serpent, a big cobra. And then he's with him like this, the terror of every mother to see her child playing with a snake. And so this is a giant, cobra. And he's there like this. And then when Mother Sachi, when Mother Padmavati comes out, she's just totally shocked. Well, no, this was Chaitanya. And Mother Sachi was totally shocked when she saw this. And this is Nityananda. So, of course, Chaitanya, he's hey, how you doing, Nityananda? Yeah, yeah, you are. Not to say sorry about, But then the mother said, totally shocked. So, of course, the Nityananda cooperated, and then he slithered off. But that's a horror of every mother. Remember, I was in Mayapur 2004, and there was a snake that was from that second light to here. That's how big he was. And there was like 30 devotees in a row watching it from a distance, like from here out to the cars. We go, look at that snake. That thing's gigantic. Then it went into a wood pile. So all the devotees after that, they would go around the wood pile to avoid, But he's the original Naga. Balaram is the original Naga. Nitya is the original Naga. One day, so here's the distressing part of every mother, is that here you have it, that a sannyasi came to visit at the home of Nityananda Prabhu. Hodai Oja is the father, of course, and then when he came, and he served the sannyasi very wonderfully. Everything was going fine. And at the end, of course, the sannyasi is about to leave, and he's, Hodai Oja had actually served him very wonderfully, and then he said, I have one request. I said, oh, well, sure, anything that you want, Maharaj. You're a sannyasi, anything, we can serve you. We're just humble grihastas. How can we help you? I want your son. And then, Hodai was like, I didn't hear that. He was like, is there anything else we can get you? No, I want your son, to come with me on pilgrimage. And he was like, oh my gosh, I promised that I would give him whatever he wanted. And here he's asking for the most thing I'm attached to, and I can't let go. And so he knew, and the wife too was crying, oh. I mean, think about it, here he is, he's very young, and he says, I want your son. So then he knew he had to give him up. So then Hodai, he just standing there and watching his son disappear into the distance with the sannyasi. And he stayed there actually for 2 weeks. He couldn't move. He was just totally frozen, totally wouldn't eat anything. And then he finally just left his body. Wow. Just like Dasarath, he just couldn't tolerate the separation. So then, but these are the pastimes of the Lord. So he actually is that he passed away. Now, I want to see if there was, so then he goes on. And then Nitya traveled to so many places of pilgrimage for 8 years. So if you've been all over India, Chaitanya Charitamrita, they mention the different traveling places the Lord Chaitanya went, and then all over the different places. So many of the places he went to were first Vakreshwara, Gaya, Benares, Kanchi, and then Kashi, and then Prayag, Mathura, Jamuna, Govardhan Hill, all the forests of Vrindavan, Hastinapur, Dwarka, Siddhapur, and Gujarat. So Siddhapur and Gujarat's a very special place. I want to get a chance, I want to go there, because Radharani went there to bathe. Nityananda Prabhu went there and served out rice. I didn't know the value of it because I couldn't find it. I heard about it, I'd read about it, but I didn't know where it was until Anarta. I looked up on the computer and said, Anarta, where's Anarta? So it's northern Gujarat, and there's still Siddhapur in Anarta in northern Gujarat. And so when I went there, there's a holy place there in Siddhapur, and that's where Radharani and the cowherd boys and the Krishna and the Dwarka queens, everyone, they all came there. And they actually were having pastimes there because there's Bindu Sarovara. That's one of the special places right there. One of the special Sarovaras is there. So he went there, and then also he went to Vishnu Kanchi, Shiva Kanchi, Kurukshetra, Ayodhya, Mount Kailas. And in Mount Kailas, actually, just like with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in South India, where he met Parvati and Lord Shiva, so similarly, there, Nityananda Prabhu, he met Parvati and Lord Shiva. And she actually fed him lunch. So this is a very wonderful thing, because, immediately the Lord knows, hey, my Lord, he's moving around somewhere. Oh, he's coming here, he's coming to our home, Kailas. So then they came and they took care of him. Then also he went to see Vyasadeva. So this is only 500 years ago. Vyasadeva's still there, but it's only for those who have the eyes. Even Madhvacharya, also, He also appeared, when he went up to the Himalayas and started bouncing like Hanuman in the mountains. He also went to see Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva is still there in the Himalayas, but it's hidden. There's hidden areas. After visiting South India, Nitai met Madhavinda Puri. Advaita Acharya is Madhavinda Puri's disciple. Who's Madhavinda Puri's disciple? Yes, if you're listening. When they met each other, they both fainted in ecstasy. You know, I mean, that's the intensity of these such exalted personalities. They just meet each other and they start crying in ecstasy, and then they faint in ecstasy. They hug each other and they faint again. Then they regain their consciousness, and then in that way they regain their composure. At the assembly was Ishwara Puri, the great disciple of Madhavinda Puri, who would become the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also proclaimed time after time that Madhavinda Puri was the first teacher and acharya of pure devotion. Nitai would not give up the company of Madhavinda Puri, and he always talked to they always talked about Krishna. Madhavinda Puri stated, "I found no love anywhere until I met Nityananda Ram." So when he met Nityananda Ram, and actually Madhavinda Puri is actually the incarnation of a Kalpavriksha tree. That's why he can give unlimited devotional service, and the purest type of devotional service, because he is actually a Kalpavriksha tree. Mentioned in Gaura Ganadesh Deepaka. And okay. Nitai's meeting with Madhavinda Puri is not fully revealed in any writing, but the devotees have perceived its meaning by repeating it purely. So it's come down through the mouth. It's been repeated again and again, and in that way it's come down. Nitai, in the form of Balaram, appeared to Lakshmipati Tirtha, who's in the Madhva line, and in the form of a dream. So imagine this. He comes to Lakshmipati Tirtha and tells him, tomorrow you're going to meet a great personality. And this great personality, you should initiate him. And this is the mantra that you're going to say in his ear. And then Nityananda says the mantra. And so it turns out the next day, Lakshmipati, he met Nityananda Ram. So he initiated his spiritual master, who turns around and initiates him. He gave him the same mantra. And then some say Nityananda was initiated from Madhavinda Puri. Others say he's a disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha, who is Madhavinda Puri's initiating guru. There's no contradiction in this. Pure love is coming down in an unadulterated line. Now Nitai knew that, so at the time he's traveling all over India, visiting these places, and then he's now met Madhavinda Puri. Now he knows time is coming close when I'm going to have to go to Navadvip and meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's getting ready. It's all being timed, you know. This is how the pastimes are. There's no accidents. Like Prabhupada says, no accidents in the material world. So everything's being timed accordingly so the pastime will fully blossom. Haribo! Jai, thank you for coming. Hare Krishna. Jai. Chaitanya told the Vaishnavas that a great personality will soon arrive. And so then finally, of course, then he comes. And Nityananda went into great ecstasy upon meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So imagine this. Here it is, Krishna and Balaram are meeting each other again in the form of Gaur Nitai. So when they embraced each other, they just were in deep ecstasy. Hare Krishna, thank you for coming. Jai. So in this way, the ecstasy was increasing because they knew we have a mission to do, and that now we're meeting together, but then eventually we're going to separate. So afterwards, another day, Nityananda broke his own sannyas danda in water pot. He snapped it in two. So then Gaur and Nitai swam in the Ganga together, and Nityananda chased a crocodile and tried to embrace it. So you imagine that, swimming. And this is the Ganga, you know what I mean, right? In Navadvip, you know, we don't see crocodiles now. But just imagine that back then there was crocodiles. And just like in Kanai Natashala,
where there's crocodile holes there. You know, they're big, like about 8 feet tall, like this. And that's where crocodiles used to be. The devotee, we have a temple there now in Bengal. And that's where Lord Chaitanya manifested ecstasy after coming back from Bihar, from Vishnu Gaya. And it's after he received initiation from Ishwara Puri. And so, is that here again now, of course, Nityananda and Chaitanya have met together, and they're going to be, so here he is, they're swimming in the Ganga, and he wants to chase after a crocodile and embrace him. So this is something, you know, devotees are like, is it now, at a certain point, the Vyas Puja came up, the Vyas Puja day, the worship, Vyas Purnima we call it. So this is the day when Vyasa is worshipped, the original guru. And this is why it's carried down in the line that we have Vyas Pujas of different gurus and everything. And then of Srila Prabhupada, of course, because he's the founder Acharya of ISKCON. He is the, the one and only founder Acharya. And so we have it here where they're actually performing Vyas Puja to Vyasadeva. So is that they made all the preparations. It didn't say they had a picture, but I presume they had a picture there. They must have something that's representing Vyasadeva. And so they're offering flowers, they're saying all the different mantras, you know, for the guru. And so then finally Nityananda Prabhu, they gave him the garland to put on the picture, or whatever was there representing Vyasadeva. And then he holds the garland, he starts looking at everybody. You know, it's like, put the garland on, they're telling him, put the garland on. And he's just looking at everybody. And then he puts the garland on. You know, Nityananda would do very funny things like that. Nityananda was invited to Srivas Pandit's house, and then Chaitanya came. Gaura told all the devotees to go outside. So this would be very mysterious. It's like if Prabhupada's in a room, and he tells all the devotees to go outside except one devotee. And then everyone's wondering, what's going on? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his Sadbhuj form to Nityananda. And it's interesting because then it describes what he was holding, and it's different than the Sadbhuj that we usually see pictures of. So this Sadbhuj, was holding the club, the disc, the lotus, the plow, the conch, and a sannyas stick in his hands. And that's different than what we usually see. Because we'll see the bow and arrow of Ramachandra, and then we see the flute of Krishna, and then, the water pod, and the sannyas danda. So it's different. And then Nityananda also had his, we'll go on here, I'll mention it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Srivas Pandit, so the devotees came back in. He says to Srivas Pandit, he goes, why do you keep this mendicant in your house? You know, he's useless. Here it is, he's talking. Chaitanya's talking about his brother Nityananda, you know, he's joking. He says, why do you keep him in the house? He's useless, you should get rid of him. To this Srivas told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's not different from you. My heart will not even budge an inch from his glories. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then roared. He said, ha ha ha! What did you say, Srivas? You have so much faith in Nityananda? Because Nityananda is so controversial. It isn't like, oh yeah, of course, he deserves it. It's like, you have faith in this guy? So then he says, I am so pleased with you that even if Lakshmi Devi has to go begging in the street, your house will never have any poverty. Yeah. So it says now, here's the next one. He says, everyone in your house, including the cats and dogs, will achieve undivided devotional service unto me. Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Namaha, the most merciful incarnation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course Nityananda too. Because Nityananda went after the worst dregs. Okay, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was getting the more general people, but Nityananda got the worst dregs, the lowest of the low. And so that's why even he's more merciful than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we'll read on here, we'll see why. Once, while staying at the house of Srivas Pandit, a crow came. You know, like they have an open window, you know. And it's funny because sometimes in India they have open windows, and nobody likes an open window because the mosquitoes come in, the bugs come in, and the crows come in. So there's a crow sitting here on the ledge, and he's watching everything. You know how crows are. You see them, and they're watching, and then they see something they want, and then they go. then he grabbed a bell metal cup and he flew off with it. And then when Srivas Pandit's wife saw this, she was extremely scared, because what happened is she goes, oh my gosh, she said, what am I going to do? Malini Mata, what am I going to do? Here it is, I need that cup. This holds the ghee for the deities. And now this crow's taking it away, and she's lamenting and crying. Then Nityananda comes in, and he goes, why are you crying, Malini Mata? He said, you know, whatever's the problem, we'll straighten it out. She goes, oh, a crow came in, he took the cup that holds the ghee for the deities, and he flew off with it. He goes, oh, really? A crow, huh? Okay. You know, Nityananda, of course, you know, because he's Balaram, he has contact with everybody. He can contact anyone at any time. He has all mystic power. So he goes, you know, I mean, of course, he calls the crow. Crow comes back, says, he said, you're going to go get that cup that you took from this place, and you're going to bring it back. So he flies off, short amount of time, the crow comes back, he's got the cup in his mouth, and then he gives it back to Malini Devi. So in this way, he's showing some of Nityananda's power that he had. Crow Kata. Sometimes Nityananda would fall down in ecstasy and remain unconscious for 3 or 4 days. So just imagine this, you know what I mean? Like, you might have a devotee that might go into ecstasy for, you know, half an hour, a few hours or something. It's been known in ISKCON. And then you may have it where here Nityananda is 3 or 4 days. You know, he's just in ecstasy. You know? Like, for 3 or 4 days not coming out of it. Once, and so Nitya and Haridas, okay, so this is where the pastimes are going to start now with Jagai Madai, is that Lord Chaitanya said, see, Lord Chaitanya, he wanted Nityananda to go preach in Bengal. So they said, okay, Haridas and Nitya, you're going to go out and preach now door to door. And you're going to tell everybody is that beg everyone to chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and learn the science of Krishna. So they were going door to door, and most of the people, they really appreciated it. Oh, this is wonderful, you know. Here's somebody tell me some good things, you know. Just like when the local preachers here come to your door, you know what I mean? It's nice to see them come because at least they're pious and they're doing something, you know what I mean? Something pious compared to all the shooting and the carjackings and the killings and the rapes and all this other craziness that goes on. At least you have some sort of preacher coming to your door. So in this way, people were very happy to say, Nityananda and Haridas come to the door and ask them these wonderful things. So finally they met, they had heard about Jagai Madai, but they didn't know, you know, Nityananda asked, he goes, who's this Jagai Madai? You know. So finally they met Jagai Madai. There were 2 Brahmanas who were greatly sinful. What sin they could not have committed? They committed all different sins. Everyone was very scared of them in the whole area of Navadvip and Mayapur. They're all very afraid of Jagai Madai. And Jagai Madai, of course, who were they? Now I want to get the kids on this. Who's Jagai Madai? Who were they? Who's reading? Oh, his hand's about to go up. You're guilty.
You.
Uh-huh. And then who would they come as next?
They came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu.
Very good.
And then
And Chaitanya, and then Krishna Lila.
Krishna
Starts with a D.
and Nandapakша.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Hey, this guy's on a roll. Okay, next.
And then they came as a Jagai Madai.
There you go. Bhagavad Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. Chai.
One more Rasgulla.
Hey, one more Rasgulla. There you go. He gets it. Remember. Do you like sweets?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, after my own heart. I used to love sweets when I was younger. Can't now, but I did then. Okay. That was very good. See, he's learning. His parents are teaching him. This is very important. The kids know this. This is very important that they learn the Krishna conscious philosophy. Otherwise, it's just, you know, myth. What is it? You know, they'll listen to baseball, basketball, or, you know, everyone's got a hurting neck now because of the cell phones. So, is that finally they met up with Jagai and Madai, and Jagai and Madai were very, very upset. Who are these? Because they said the same thing to them. Is that beg everyone, please chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and learn the science of Krishna. What? We're Brahmanas. You tell us this? What? So they go running after him. And Nityananda Raman, hardest Thakur said, I don't know how much I can keep up running like this. And then finally, because, of course, Jagai and Madai, they were drunkards, they were, they weren't in shape or anything. So then, of course, is that they slow down, they get away. They go, oh my gosh, here it is, you bring me out and I'm going to get killed out on preaching? You're going to kill me? Have me killed? So anyway, they went out again, and they didn't see the Jagai and Madai for a while. Finally, they ended up with Jagai and Madai again. Oh, he saw, at this time, Nityananda was walking by himself, as pastime, and all of a sudden he runs into Jagai and Madai. He says, oh, here he is again. Now we're going to get him. And so Madai went up and he hit Nityananda in the head with it, and hurt him, and he started bleeding. And then Madai went to get his pot of wine. He's going to smash it over his head, which might have crushed his skull. But then Jagai said, whoa. I said, why are you doing it? He goes, what benefit are we going to get from actually hurting, severely hurting a mendicant? It's like, where's the money? So he said, no, don't do that. So then what happened is the devotees ran and got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invoked Sudarshan Chakra. And he came running, he got Sudarshan Chakra in his right hand, and he's just going to let that go and just, poof. But then what happened is that Nityananda said, no. Nityananda, most merciful. It's okay, my lord. I'm delivering them. They didn't mean to hurt me. And so then he said, even Jagai, he said, prevented Madai from throwing that whole pot onto my head. So then, okay, Jagai, you're out of the way. And Chaitanya said, I want you, Madai. So he's about to... And then I said, oh, okay, I've heard all about you. I really feel real sorry. I'm begging for mercy. More or less begging for his life. And he bows down, and then what happened is he surrenders. So this was a turning point in people's faith of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, and all the devotees, because these were the most sinful rascals. These were the worst. These were the super dregs of society. And so, you couldn't think of anything worse that could actually be converted into Vaishnavas. And then people in the village are seeing them dancing in kirtan and Harinam, and they're going like, oh my God. Shocking, because, how could they churn? How could their consciousness change like this? It's so unbelievable. So this was a big turning point in people's faith of Krishna consciousness in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Ram. And they became great devotees in this way. And also Madai, he got a shovel, and imagine the humility. With his shovel, he's digging a ghat. It's right on Bhaktisiddhanta Road, on the left-hand side as you're walking, and then you can see where when you go on Parikrama, they tell you, here's Madai ghat. Of course, now it's just a little trench, and the Ganga used to go by there. But now the Ganga's way, because the Ganga's always moving like that. Jalangi is always changing its course. but the place is still there. People remember it. When Chaitanya, as a sannyasi, wanted to go to Nilachala, he asked Nityananda to go to Navadvip and invite all the devotees to meet the Lord at Shantipur. Now Shantipur is, whose house is in Shantipur, even right now? Dvaitacharya Jai. Great, that was good. Say the mantra and then he remembers. That's good, yeah. So Shantipur, it's very nice. Your devotees get a chance, you go there. It's such a wonderful place. The Ganga used to come by right next to his house. You can see the indent of the Ganga, but it's dried up now. It's gone in another course. But he used to come right by there. So he told the devotees to meet him at Shantipur. Now on the way, Nityananda, manifesting his transcendental eccentricities, he starts playing a flute and chanting in the threefold bending form like Krishna, and he's playing a flute like a coward boy. Also, sometimes he would roll in the pastures, cow pastures, then he'd go up to a cow like a calf, start drinking the milk, like a calf. So what would happen to you kids if you turned around and you saw a man on his knees and he's drinking milk from a cow? Wouldn't you think something was wrong? But this is Nityananda Ram, so he's manifesting such wonderful pastimes like this because he's a coward boy. And so he's manifesting, so Haribo, Haribo, thank you for coming, Prabhus, Hare Krishna. And he danced the entire path. So here it is. He's going to meet all the devotees in Navadvip, and he's dancing all the way also. Then he gets in the mood, okay, he says, I feel like being Seshnag. I want to be Ananta Sesha. And then he starts getting out in the Ganga, and he starts, just floating down the Ganga. As Ananta Shesh, because snakes, they float on the water, and he's floating down the Ganga like that until he gets to Navadvip. So finally he reaches the bathing ghats of Navadvip and invited all the devotees. On the way to Nilachala, Jagannath Pandit was entrusted to carry, so this is afterwards, they meet all the devotees met in Shantipur, and then they're going to Nilachala, and all the devotees then are going to, as they head towards Nilachala, this Jagannath Pandit was entrusted to carry Lord Chaitanya's danda and water pot. So then he has to go out and collect bhiksha, or funds to keep them going, or for food or prasada. And so he gives this to Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu, of course, funny as he is, he's in ecstasy, so he begins talking to the danda. And he says to the danda, laughing, he says, "O danda, it is wrong that he," meaning Chaitanya, that I carry in my heart is carrying you." So he's talking to the Dunda, saying, "Dunda, my Lord who I worship is carrying you." Now that doesn't seem right. So he goes, he breaks it in three places. And so then he breaks the water pot. And then at this time, Jagannath comes back and he goes, "What did you do?" Jagannath Pandit goes, "What did you do?" He said, "I was entrusted to watch this. And now you turn around and you break it." And then the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw it and he told, he said, "Well, why did you break my danda? That's my danda, He said, and Nityananda said, "Oh, I broke a bamboo stick." Gaur then said that all the demigods are present in my danda, and you call it a bamboo stick? Later Chaitanya said that Nityananda is more dear to me than my very dear life. Don't offend him or you will suffer. So even though Nityananda would do these crazy things, he would tell, do not question him, because this is the mood. Sometimes these Uttamadhikaris would do very amazing things and very eccentric things, and sometimes it's hard to understand. But of course, this is the Lord. This is the Lord himself. He's beyond all consideration of good and evil and all these different things. He would just manifest fantastic things. And so he's beyond question. When the devotees arrived at Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already darshan of Jagannath and fainted. And then he was carried to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, which is right nearby. If you've been to Puri, his house is right nearby. And so after this, for the rest of the devotees, as they were coming, they got a guide. Even now you have guides, and the guides will take you all around. So they said, "Please, when you go have darshan of Jagannath, please contain your ecstasy and your emotions." Okay, because he said, I don't want to have it that just like this Gosai who was just carried away, that we're going to have to start carrying you all of the way when you start fanning and crying and showing so much emotion. So, but Nityananda could not contain himself, and he climbed up on the altar, and he embraced Jagannath. Joy! I mean, how big they're, gigantic. And so then he goes up and he embraces them. Of course, is that then some of the persons that were there guarding the altar, they try to push him away. Of course, his Balaram just goes, pushes everybody away. They go, wow, this guy's got superhuman strength. And then he goes over to Balaram, embraces him, and then takes the garland off and puts it on himself. And I mean, he'd be like, blasphemy. No, because he's Balaram himself. So he puts the garland on himself. Hey, this is me, I'm the same, Balaram one at a time, don't forget that, people. So then, after that, he embraces us, and the guards could not stop, and then they understood that, he's somebody, he's not ordinary, so we'll lay off of him, we'll tolerate him. So Chaitanya ordered Nittai to go to Bengal and preach. Now, what happened is that here they are in Puri, and Nityananda says to Nityananda, he goes, he said, here I am, and you know what I mean, I'm preaching, and then you're here, But you, what you're doing, you're all quiet and you're all, it's like you're shriveled up and you're not doing anything. He said, you're very powerful. You have to go to Bengal. You have to deliver all these people. You're a Petit Pavan. So you have to go. Grudgingly. Of course, he loved to be together with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's the star. So he said, no, I said, you have to go. So then, along with Nityananda, Madhava Ghosh, Govinda Ghosh, Vasudeva Ghosh, these are the great Kirtaniyas, the fantastic Kirtan leaders. And of course, they're all from Krishna Lila. And then, on the way, Nityananda would dance. Everyone was amazed at Nityananda's dancing. After Kirtan, Nityananda asked for an Abhishek. Okay, everybody, it's time for Abhishek for me now. He's so funny. So they went and had pots. They usually clay pots. They go with clay pots and then bring back Ganga Jal. And they were bathing him. They added oils to the water. And then Nitai asked Raghava Pandit to bring him a garland of Kadamba flowers. But Raghava Pandit says, because he's at Raghava Pandit's house, he goes, you want me to bring Kadamba flowers? And actually Kadamba flowers were actually, of course, those are Radharani's favorite. Those are Radharani's favorite flower. So he said, but it's not the season for Kadamba flowers. He said, just go in your backyard. Now, so he goes into his backyard, and there the Kadamba flowers are growing on the lemon tree. So he was like, oh my gosh, this is a lemon tree, and there's Kadamba flowers on the lemon tree. So anyway, so he goes and he brings them, and they had a very wonderful smell. And so then when he got it in his yard, they had the lemon tree. So then there was a smell of flowers which was all pervading, and then they're doing kirtan. They're doing very intense kirtan. And Nitai said, today Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here to hear the kirtan. And he says he was wearing a garland of Damanaka flowers and sat in a tree unseen. The smell of the flowers filled all the directions. So they could actually smell, the devotees could all smell this perfumed of the flowers all in the air. And it's because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was wearing one of these, celestial garlands. And the smell was just fantastically pervading the entire atmosphere. So they went on for kirtan like this. So they stayed in Panihati for 3 months. Now Panihati is very special because for 3 months the devotees were lost in ecstatic trance. For 3 months they're lost in ecstatic trance. They stopped all bodily activities. That means no banyo, no bathroom, no drinking of water. They're in ecstasy for 3 months. All they did was continuously dance in ecstasy. I mean, you think about it. I mean, when we used to go out in Harinam, we'd go out in Harinam for 8 hours a day in New York City in the early 70s. And when you came back, you were exhausted because we were very young then, in our 20s. But if I go out now in Harinam, I go out for an hour afterwards, I'm like, it's not the same anymore. But here it is for 3 months, continuously. Imagine the potency of the holy name and the purity. It's like they're in spiritual bodies. So it's just so hard to understand. All they did continuously for 3 months is dance in ecstatic bliss. Some illiterate children heard the kirtan. They simply heard it. And they became so ecstatic that they proclaimed that they were coward boys. They got into the mood of ecstasy. We are coward boys. They did not eat for 1 month. So they were in ecstasy for 1 month. They're in ecstasy. Just by hearing. That's just absolutely amazing. Now, then what happens is, of course, is that Nityananda, because he was very controversial, he would also sometimes be wearing jewelry. He'd be wearing opulent, clothing, and he'd be wearing bangles, gold earrings, and then different types of precious gems around his neck. So there was one Brahmin who wanted to steal his jewels, bangles, and necklaces. So what happened is they planned it, because they're very good thieves. They planned it. They said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to watch. So the first night when they put on watch, then of course, is that Krishna's Yogamaya made them all go to sleep. They slept all night long. Because what happened is when they first came up to the house, they were moving around the house, the devotees were. Said, okay, he said, we'll just sit here and watch. And then we'll get them early in the morning. Early, like 2 a.m. And then when they got, all of a sudden they hear the birds and they wake up and they go, oh my gosh, what happened? You were supposed to watch. No, you were supposed to watch. You fell asleep. You weren't supposed to fall asleep. So they're yelling at each other. So they said, okay, we'll plan it. Then we'll come back the next night. So then, when they come back the next night, then what happened is that they see these huge guards that are going, hurdy, hurdy, carrying swords, and spears. And they're like, oh my God, who are these guys? There must be some big king in there. These are huge soldiers. We can't go in. And so they left. And then the third night they come. And on the third night, it must have been Ambavasya. And then it was just pitch black. You couldn't see anything. So they're approaching the house and they're falling and tripping and falling into one hole that had splinters in it. And then another one bumping into each other, running into the trees. And so in this way, they were actually cheated by the Lord. Then it began to rain. So imagine, first you can't see, and then it starts to rain hard. So it's just absolute misery. So the Brahmanas, so this one Brahmana then realized that Nitai must be the Supreme Being. Because we're expert and we've never failed at our thievings and stealings. And here it is that we got foiled 3 times. So 3 times it's too much. So he said he must be the Supreme Being. So then what happened is he went and surrendered him and told his story and his plans to Nitai. And they surrendered and converted also all the many thieves that were with him were also Brahmanas. You can't make the money in the temple, right? With the money going into the hundi, so you got to make it somehow. So then they're out there going after all these different personalities, and so they're going all over Navadvip and everything. So this was another instance where these dacoits had actually surrendered unto Nityananda Ram. So another amazing episode. So Chaitanya told, so near the end of the Leela, Chaitanya's Leela, he told Nityananda, he said, I understand you. He said, but you should get married now. Because in 5,000 years ago, he said approximately, he said, you never had any children, so you know what I mean, you never expanded your family. So I want you to expand your family and our Leela this time. You see, it became Nityananda Vamsa, which has its own titles to it. So, so at this time he said, I'm going to wind up my pastimes. I'm telling you the truth that I will certainly appear in your house in the near future. In other words, as one of your children. And so this is actually, there was the prediction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying is that I'll come as your son, as Veerbhadra. Veerbhadra was another fantastic personality who actually had fantastic pastimes also. It's mentioned in the Prema Vilas. And this way, he ended up, he said, okay, so he went, so Nityananda Ram, he went to Suryadas. And Suryadas, he said, I'd like to get married to your daughter, in Janava. So she's listening in the other room. She's, of course, she's his eternal consort. And she's in the other room, she's listening, and he goes, the Suryadas says, he said, well, wait a minute. He said, I'm a Brahmana, even though you're born in a Brahmin family, you're fallen, because Nityananda was so controversial. He associated, you associate with Sudras, all the caste system was so strong back then. And you associate with all these fallen people and converting fallen people, and, I don't know, the father's being protective. So the Nityananda feels bad, and then he walks off, and he goes down next to the river. And then what happens is Janava, then she starts developing epilepsy on the front porch after Nityananda had left. And her eyes are bulging out of her head, and she's barely breathing. And so then he calls the pandas, and he goes, hey, come here, see what's wrong, what's going on. And then they check her, they go, oh, she's dying, And he goes, oh no, we must have committed a great offense. They went running and got Nityananda Prabhu and bring him back. And simply the aroma that came from Nityananda's body, it entered into her nostrils. Then immediately, whoop, whoop, the eyes popped back in. And then immediately she goes, what happened? What's going on? And then she goes into the house and he says, yeah, you can marry my daughter. Yes, you can marry her, no problem. So then, then they have a fantastic marriage ceremony. They have a fantastic marriage ceremony, very celebrated. Everyone came. You know, it's very auspicious. And then this way it was going on now. Now one day, Nityananda is in Trayodasi Pandit's house, and he's there, and the meals are being prepared. And Janava Mata, she's helping in the kitchen and everything. And so then Vasudha, his younger daughter, she comes and she helps, and she's serving out Nityananda Prasadam, and all of a sudden her sari fell off. Jai Hare Krishna, thank you for coming, Hari Bol, Nityananda Ram, Hari Bol. So then she's serving, and then her sari falls down. So what happens, her two arms right now are feeding Nityananda food. So she immediately pops out two other arms, and puts the sari back on her head and tightens it up, and he sees this, and he grabs her by the hand and sits her down right next to him, because the right-hand side is the unmarried wife, left-hand side is the married wife. Just like you see Radha Krishna, Radharani's on this side, and then like that, you know. The women is always on the left. Female energy is the left side of your body, right side of your body is Purusha or male. So then he said, I'll take your daughter as the dakshin that you owe me. You know, because back then there was always a thing of the father gives the dakshin, the money, you know, that you're going to marry my daughter. Now I will give money to support her. You know, so he said, I'll take her. So this was one of the, and he was in ecstasy. He loved it. Oh, Nityananda, now you're going to marry my other daughter too? You know. So in this way, then eventually she became pregnant, and she actually ended up giving birth to Virabhadra Prabhu. So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reincarnated as Virabhadra Prabhu. And also is that she also had a daughter, so she had two children. So Vasudha, okay. Oh, now also, Virachandra was in her womb for 15 months. So ladies, you know what so when you just have a child in the womb for 8 or 9 months, my wife knows this well, is that you just want to get that thing out of your body. Because it's very painful, very distressing. I mean, just... So imagine 15 months, having a child in your womb. Isn't this, you know, that's very difficult. So that's how long he stayed in. Nitai had established the service of Sharmasundar Deity, and he saw the deity as Chaitanya. One day, he entered his temple room and disappeared. You know, I mean, that's one of the ways how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also disappeared in Puri. He walked into the Jagannath temple and disappeared. That's one of the ways. Now, he solaced himself and came out of the deity room, and he then took Vasudha and Janavi and left for Kadadaha. Kadadaha is also another important village in the pastimes of Virabhadra Prabhu and Nityananda. From there he went to Ekachakra and saw Lord Bankarai there. Very beautiful deity of Bankarai. He's also there in Ekachakra. And after staying there for a few days, Nitai entered the temple of Bankarai, and he disappeared. He walked right into the deity, and he just disappeared. So in this way, this is why Nityananda Prabhu is such a wonderful personality, and he's so merciful, and this is why so many wonderful songs are actually written about him. You see, so now we're also going to hear some more things about Nityananda Ram, and it's 16 reasons to regularly chant what? Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. So, this is from Adi 11:13. Purushottama Pandit, a resident of Navadvip, was Krishna's 8th Gopal, Stoka Krishna for Vrindavan. He would become mad as soon as he chanted or heard the holy name, Nityananda. And then from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 11:34, Balaram always fully tasted the nectar of love of Krishna. Upon chanting or hearing the name of Nityananda, he would become extremely maddened. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 8:23 says, simply by chanting the name Nityananda, one awakens his love for Krishna. Thus all his bodily limbs are agitated by ecstasy of love of God, and tears flow from his eyes like the water of the Ganges. And this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikand, chapter 9, verse 385. Madhavinda Puri states, if one simply hears the name Nityananda, he will most certainly attain the lotus feet of Krishna Chandra, irrespective of any other consideration. And this is from Navadvita Mahatmya, chapter 4. Jiva Goswami tells Nityananda, if you are merciful on someone, that person will effortlessly achieve the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and thus drown in the ocean of pure static love for Krishna. If someone does not get your mercy, then such a person will never achieve Lord Gaura, even if he or she worships Lord Chaitanya for a minimum of 100 lifetimes. Wow, that's why it's always Nitai Gaur. It isn't just Gaur, it's Nitai Gaur. You know, they're together, the two brothers. And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila, chapter 6, verse 131. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without Nityananda's mercy. But if you are merciful, even the lowest men can attain shelter at his lotus feet. Chai, that's us. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. So, from Sri Navadvita Mahatmya, chapter 4, Jiva Goswami to Lord Nityananda, if Lord Gauranga punishes a devotee, you, Nityananda, protect him and somehow engage him in Gauranga's service. But if you punish a devotee, he eternally becomes estranged from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And now this is from the Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhyakan 12:18. Your name is Nityananda, eternally full of eternal bliss. Your form is also Nityananda, eternally full of eternal bliss. You are Nityananda, unlimited bliss, in personified form because you are Lord Balaram himself. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 5, verse 204. All glories to the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, by whose mercy I have attained Sri Radha Govinda. And Narottam Das Thakur sings, Hey no Nitai Vinay Bhai Radha Krishna Paitinai. Unless one worships Nityananda, one can never achieve Radha Krishna. And there it is. And that's coming from Narottam, who is an Uttamadhikari himself, topmost devotee. Wonderful pastimes. Actually, Mother Chaitanya wanted to say, right when I finish up here, she wants me to call her on the phone, and then she wants to tell a few things about Narottam Das Thakur that some of you devotees may not have heard. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 5, verse 207. Who in the creation but Lord Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable, contemptible, and the lowest person as me? This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 5, verse 208 and 209. Because he is always fully intoxicated by ecstatic love for Gauranga, he is an incarnation of causeless mercy. Thus he does not distinguish between the good and the bad people, because he himself is always intoxicated in pure love. He indiscriminately delivers all those who simply fall down before him. Therefore, he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 181. That night, Lord Nityananda personally appeared to me in a dream in his most enchanting form and placed his lotus feet on my head and gave me eternal residence in Sri Vrindavan Dham, simply because I defended his glories and that of his intimate associate Miniketana Ramdas, while quarreling with my brother who had no faith in Lord Gauranga, who had faith in Lord Gauranga, but only a shadow faith in Lord Nityananda. What a merciful Lord! Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram! According to Jaiva Dharma, all the names of Gauranga are actually mantras, and the Lord should be worshipped through these Namatmaka mantras. Thus, the name Nityananda is also actually a mantra, and he should be worshipped by chanting this Namatmaka mantra. Anyone who has not established his relationship with Nityananda Prabhu by chanting his name Nityananda is understood to have spoiled his valuable human birth. Such a human being is actually an uncontrollable animal. Because he never uttered the name Nityananda, he has become merged into a so-called material happiness. What can his useless education and family tradition do to save him from the cycle of birth and death? Jai. So Navadvita Mahatmya chapter 1 states, the most fortunate person who chants the names of Nityananda and Gauranga just once immediately destroys the unlimited sinful reactions accumulated for an unlimited number of lives in the past. Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. It helped all of us right then and there. Jai. Haribol. According to Jiva Goswami. And then also we have here, if one feelingly and loudly calls out the name of Nityananda and Gauranga, the purest Krishna praying, pure love of Krishna comes searching after such a person. You want someone to come and look for you and his pure love of Godhead? Welcome them. The offenses which may be present don't create any obstacles in a path of achieving this love, and tears start flowing from his eyes in ecstatic love. In a very short time, the offenses themselves flee and the heart becomes completely purified, and thus the love further increases. Adi Lila chapter 8 verse 31. If one chants with some slight faith the holy name of Lord Gauranga Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of all offenses. Since in the chanting of the names of Nitai Gaur there is no consideration of offenses, one will very quickly come to the stage of love of God, simply by chanting their names. And tears of pure love for Krishna will flow from his eyes. That's why before we start chanting our japa, or between each round, we can chant Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda. Now these are also from Prabhupada. Let's hear what Prabhupada is saying now. There are offenses to be considered in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but there's no such considerations in chanting the names of Nitai Gaur. Therefore, if one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but his life is still full of sinful activities, it will be very difficult for him to achieve the platform of loving service to the Lord. But if in spite of being an offender, one chants the holy names of Nitai Gaur, he is very quickly freed from the reactions to his offenses. Therefore, one should first approach Lord Chaitanya Nityananda, or worship Guru Gauranga, and then come to the stage of worshipping Radha Krishna. One should first take shelter of Nitai Gaur in order to reach ultimately Radha Krishna. For an ordinary man, worship of Sri Chaitanya Nityananda or the Panchatattva is easier than worship of Radha Krishna. Unless one is very fortunate, he should not be induced to worship Radha Krishna directly. A devotee, a student, who is not sufficiently educated or enlightened should not indulge in the worship of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna or chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Even if he does so, he cannot get the desired result. One should therefore chant the names of Nitai Gaur and worship them without false prestige. Why? Because the offenses become nullified. Then you can chant Hare Krishna, then you can also... That's why on our altars we have Nitai Gaur, and Jagannath Baladi Subhadra, and then Radha Krishna. Or sometimes you see just Chaitanya, and then Radha Krishna. As long as you have. But because Lord Nityananda is most merciful, we have Nitai Gaur. Then a lot of times we might have 3 separate altars like that. So we have one more here. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra considers the offenses, whereas the names of Nitai Gaur don't consider offenses. An offensive chanter will never achieve the fruit of chanting pure love for Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Therefore, till the time he is committing offenses, he should chant the names of Nitai Gaur. Do the repeated chanting of the names of Gaur Nityananda, the offenses will be destroyed, and he will achieve the fruit of chanting. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 8, verse 3 purport says, in the beginning, one should very regularly chant Sri Gaurasundar's holy name, and then chant the holy name of Nityananda. Then one's heart will be cleansed of impure desires for material enjoyment. Then one can approach Vrindavan Dham to worship Lord Krishna. Unless one is favored by Lord Chaitanya Nityananda, there's no need to go to Vrindavan, for unless one's mind is purified, he cannot see Vrindavan even if he goes there. The glories of Lord Nityananda, as the incarnation of Lord Balaram, the origin of both the spiritual and material worlds, are given in the revealed scriptures as follows. Now, sometimes I'm seeing on the internet now, on YouTube, sometimes devotees, they're all getting together and they're going to just start the kirtan. They just start chanting Hare Krishna. The way Prabhupada taught us is first you say the prayers to the spiritual master, or you can say it to your guru, and then you say Prabhupada, and then you say Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Then you chant Hare Krishna. You know, that there's an elevated step as you go. You just don't go right into chanting Hare Krishna. You know, that's what Prabhupada set up, so we're trying to follow what Prabhupada said. In the Vaya Purana, it says, the Lord tells Lord Brahma, Lord Balaram, who is my first expansion and non-different from me, will also appear by my side as Sri Nityananda. He will become the crest jewel of all renunciates on earth. Even though he's controversial, Lord Chaitanya said he's the crest jewel of all renunciates on the earth. Then the second verse in Vaya Purana, assuming the dress of an avadut, that's why they call him avadut, because he was controversial. It says, he will freely distribute Bhagavad Dharma, in other words, love of God. He will distribute this pure love through various means and deliver all living entities. He will go first as a brahmachari and later as a householder. You see? So in that way, he was setting the example. Verse number 3. Accompanied by his eternal consort, Srimati Janava Devi, and many other intimate associates, Nityananda, he will reveal his transcendental pastimes to the people. In the Ananta Samhita, it says, the Lord states to Anantadev, when I appear in Navadvip in Kali Yuga, you will become Nityananda. Jai. You will have a very tall, beautiful, large body, and you will be constantly absorbed in chanting my name and glories. In this way, by your causeless mercy, you will convert many bewildered souls who are devoid of devotion into my pure, unalloyed devotees. Of course, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, may Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Seshnag, and Vishnus, who lie on the Karna, ocean, Garbardak, and ocean of milk, are his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions. I surrender the lotus feet of Nityananda Ram, who is known as Sankarshan in the midst of the Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. Jai, Nityananda Ram ki Jai. So this is the glory of Nityananda Ram. Let me call Mother Chaitanya here. This is probably a rare request, but she couldn't come. She wanted to come. That's why she called earlier. And she said, I wanted to come, but, you know, what situation she's going through. And so now she's going to, she answers the phone, because sometimes that is prevented. Are you ready? Oh, wait. Oh, so you're coming here. Oh, now you're going to come. Okay, too many problems. Right, so you'll be here shortly. Okay, so we'll be doing kirtan. Artik. Well, when you do Artik, and then you come, and then you can tell you, and then you can say something about, okay? Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, they're okay. They're very okay. Yes.
At 6 o'clock is Artik. You are...
Yeah, and we're on now. Okay, all right, well, see you then. So she's coming. See my wife, she keeps me in line. Strict wife, but very good. Keeps me in line. Jai Jai Nityananda Ram ki. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. So show your enthusiasm in kirtan, you know.